There are some strange and frightening phenomena, terrifying phenomena that are unfolding on Earth, frightening silhouettes that appear, or incongruous buildings that appear from nowhere today. You will resolutely skirt the edges of the horror. Put yourself in sitting position if you are not already, because the following sequence may well to make you lose your balance. The images you see were taken by the onboard camera of a motorcyclist who was cross-country riding with his friends on a wild wilderness in Indonesia on the northern tip of the island of Sumatra. But while the motorcyclists were riding, one of them suffered a fall with his motorcycle. Rushing to his aid, the bikers saw what appeared to be a small humanoid creature. The creature jumped up almost immediately and ran away. But the bikers, at the most highly intrigued by its appearance, chased it with their motorcycles, but as you can see, this being was running even faster than Usain Bolt, and losing his pursuers, he sank into the high grass where he disappeared for good in the background. The bikers could not believe their eyes, but they recorded everything with their camera and published the video on the net. So when viewing this one, several internet users have guessed that this puny and half-naked creature was most probably a member of the mythical Mantis tribe, a tribe of fierce pygmies who live in the deepest Indonesian jungle and whom no one had seen since the 17th century. In the United States, it is called the Bigfoot, and in Canada it is nicknamed the Sasquatch. Yet, it is the same unique, terrifying creature and very hairy, with broad shoulders and powerful arms and muscular. But what is this? A creature with a simian appearance and who entered the dense forest of North America? No one really knows, and besides, the scientific community does not even believe in its existence for lack of credible evidence. However, there is no lack of testimonies about it, and a good number of hikers swear to have crossed this ogre of the woods or to have seen it in the distance, concealed behind some thick trees. In this footage, a resident local was able to film what he thinks definitely a Bigfoot in the flesh. As you can see, the images are rather poor quality, and the silhouette too blurry to be able to constitute evidence intangible. Despite everything, these images are chilling. Admit it, because no one would like to find himself in front of a giant hairy 3 meters deep in a forest of the Everglades. A new abomination is creating terror and psychosis in the rainforest, but to see it, you'll need a good magnifying glass. This is a zombie ant. Yes, you have heard me right. These are indeed living dead insects infected with some kind of fungus killer called cordyceps. This poor ant carpenter will be paralyzed from the inside by this terrible fungus. The cordyceps will indeed take possession of the body of the insect and force it to climb to the top of the plant before finally finish it off. The zombie mushroom will then slowly emerge from the exoskeleton of its host while completing to form its terrifying spores in the fort in order to release its spores in the atmosphere and contaminate thus new victims. This infernal cycle of zombification is therefore almost impossible to stop as long as the forest floor will remain covered with billions of spores ready to infect the unfortunate insects that will pass by them. And now here is a theory, to say the least. It's far-fetched, which is currently circulating on the net and where it is about stairs in the woods. In fact, according to some TikTokers, apparitions have taken place in several forests around the world, but they have nothing to do with witches or ladies in white. No, because it would be in fact a stairwell or a staircase arranged at the end of the bushy woods, and of which nobody would have explained, nor the origin, nor even the goal or the place where they can lead you. Some witnesses of these incongruous appearances revealed that these staircases came out of nowhere, are supposed to take you to another dimension, to a world of terror inhabited by abominations that defy even our darkest nightmares. But these testimonies should be taken with a pinch of salt, and this crazy theory of the stairs in the woods is nothing more than an umpteenth creepypasta made up in TikTok. Could it be that some giants could have walked the earth in the time of our ancestors? Everything leads us to believe it in any case, because apart from the testimonies and old writings collected in almost all human civilizations, Physical traces remain still today and which would prove once and for all their existence. And no, we're not talking about skeletons or any other relics of these giant beings, but rather footprints. Many traces of giant feet have indeed been discovered all over the world, although most of them, if not almost all, would be only simple hoaxes. Always is it that the existence or not of these gargantua and other pantagruel is always a question that poses debate within the international scientific community. This sequence does not concern the bald and other proud owners of Zero Ball, and you will quickly understand why. Indeed, you should already have hair on your head, so that they can stand up. And no, it is not terror that will make you stand up, but electricity charge build up in the air during a storm. But if this happens to you and you see your beautiful mane stand up, there's no point in running anymore, because you're probably already doomed. Indeed, this impromptu lifting of your hair means only one thing. It's only a positive flash that is about to strike you down. We should remind you that positive lightning, unlike negative, is terribly powerful, and it strikes the ground without any ramifications while producing a dull roar. One piece of advice: run to a car and close all the windows. This will act as a Faraday cage and save your life. But be careful, do not choose a convertible, even if you like its color. Now here's a water sequence to refresh your mind a bit, or simply to give you nightmares tonight. What you see on these images is an authentic creature of the abyss, an anglerfish abyssal from Johnson to be more precise. Filmed for the first time in its natural environment, that is to say, at some 2,000 meters of marine depth. This ferocious monster reveals an enormous mouth equipped with small sharp fangs. These crazy eyes and the small appendix that it has on the forehead complete this picture of pure horror worthy of Salvador Dali's most sordid fantasies. You certainly don't want to meet this animal, and we understand you when you see its mouth. However, we reassure you from the start, you do not risk to cross it unless you go down to more than 2,000 meters under the water. And even if you do, well, this monster won't hurt you so much, since it hardly reaches the 20 centimeters long, the size of a school kid, so not very impressive after all. If you like the Alien saga, this sequence is made for you. But be careful all the same. Sensitive souls should abstain. This is a Clathrus archery, a species of mushroom that we also call the devil's fingers, and you will very quickly understand why. Here it is, filmed in time-lapse. You can see the spore at the top, slowly but surely emerging from its egg, whitish and unfold in several fingers, dripping with bright red color. But it's not just its external appearance which is repulsive, since the Clathrus archery emits an extremely nauseating odor in order to attract flies to reproduce. The sight and smell are so horrified by this fungus, which moreover is considered as an invasive species, which makes its discovery one of these days at the bottom of your garden very likely for your greatest misfortune. Cemeteries are not really places where you want to be, especially if the graves have windows that look out to the afterlife. This is the grave of Timothy Clark Smith, a doctor from Vermont, died in 1893 on a Halloween night. What a coincidence! This good doctor had his own grave built before he died, and as you can see, he included a window in his design. You're probably wondering what the hell he would use a skylight for a 6 feet under. It's not like he wanted to enjoy the view, is it? Unless, of course, he has thought that a window on the beyond would allow him to keep a link with the mainland. Still, this tomb would be supposedly haunted, because according to the residents, greenish glows would have been seen there, and some inhabitants would have even heard horrible screams by tapping 3 times on the window at midnight. Coulrophobia is a panic and completely irrational fear that some people have of clowns. Yes, that's right. You old clown red-nosed big shoe clowns that make normal people like you and me laugh to tears. But you can imagine that those who fear clowns may not be as crazy as they look. For some time now, we have noticed that people with dishonest intention disguise themselves as clowns in order to commit their vile mischief while remaining incognito. These scoundrels put on clown masks and dress in the same way in order to deceive their victims and gain their trust, to then destroy them, or worse, physically assault them. These criminals are even more violent and cruel than the killer clown from Stephen King's novel. And as always on your favorite YouTube channel, we've saved the best for last, with this sequence that is certainly not lacking in unusual. Be careful though, the following images may shock the most fragile among you, and do not say that you were not warned. This is not what you think it is. Yes, we assure you this is not a male member that you see on these images, but rather a tree. You may think that we are telling you a lot of nonsense seasoned with vinaigrette, but it's not. This is actually a pandanasia, and it is safe to say that this is certainly the strangest palm tree and the most unique in the world. This strange tree can withstand very low temperatures, including if it is completely covered with ice. This palm tree also gives hard fruits with a soft center and which are moreover edible since one makes oils of it similar to palm oil. However, these are not these characteristics that make this tree the curious attraction that it constitutes. You will have understood it well, because the incredible singularity of this palm tree remains without context. These astonishing roots in the shape of pillars, which can reach several centimeters long. It is not by chance that the tribes attribute to him aphrodisiac virtues, which make of the palm tree one real natural Viagra.